I had so many different jobs between the age of 8 and 20. I'm just gonna name a couple of my jobs. I shoveled snow, I scooped ice cream, I had a lamp booth at flea markets, I sold advertising, and I sold fertilizer. When you look at me now, you probably think that the big sales I made to Walmart or some of the big acquisitions I did were some of the most important lessons that I learned. But the truth is, the most important things I learned came from when I was young and I was a teenager. When I was doing door-to-door sales, selling fertilizer, I had so many doors shut on me, hundreds. And I got lots of stories. And it was those experiences that I had when I was 18, 19 that really have helped me the most at Spin Master. I learned the art of influence. I learned resilience and much more. And it's those experiences that you have at an early age that are really gonna help set you up. So for all of you in the audience, be intentional and deliberate about your summer jobs. Do something different and get uncomfortable. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna start with the main event of today, which is taking a look at those pivotal moments that really shaped Spin Master and created our success. When I say the word success, you know, I always pause when I say the word success, because you never want to be seduced by success, and you never want to feel you're successful because you always want to be on edge and fear the competition, right? So please take it with a grain of salt. So let's now talk about those pivotal moments, and I have a question for you. When you go back to '94, when Spin Master started, what do you all think was the defining moment for Spin Master? Does anyone want to raise their hand? Yep. Yeah, that was brilliant. What's your name? Tyler. Yeah, Tyler basically said the defining moment was when the founders met, and he's bang on. Most people think that the Earth Buddy was the defining moment of Spin Master, but that's not correct. It was about the who, not the what. So let me take you back. In '94, in April, Renen's grandmother, she comes from overseas, and she arrives in Toronto, and she has in her purse this ball. It's about the size of a softball, and it's made out of grass seeds, sawdust, and nylon. And you put it in water, and it grows grass from its head, and you trim it. It's like your little friend. So we took the sample from overseas, and we went into Renen's mother's kitchen, and we reverse engineered it, and we made a couple hundred samples for Mother's Day. We went on to Yonge Street. We had no license, no permit. We just had I was at Yonge and Eglinton, and I was, come over here, take a look at the Earth Buddy. I was selling the Earth Buddy for Mother's Day with no permit, and Sunday night after Mother's Day, I looked at Renen and I said, we sold out. This thing's gonna be unbelievable. Let's go national. So we started to, it was so raw. I mean, we really bootstrapped the company, and I'll share more about that. Then what happened was, a couple months later, we had this opportunity to go down to Kmart in the US. Big Kmart outside Detroit, to their headquarters in Big Beaver Road in Troy, Michigan. So Renen goes down to Kmart, and he meets with the toy buyer. The toy buyer throws him out of his office. That's not a toy. That's a horticulture item. Renen goes back down to security. They have him check out. And he's like, I'm not leaving Kmart until I make a sale. He goes around the security person, sneaks into the office, walks around and looks for name tags, and sees Adrian Zacks, the horticulture buyer. He makes a sale, $3 million sale of Earth Buddy after 4 or 5 months of business. And people feel that was the defining moment. But you were right, that wasn't the defining moment. You know, when you look at Good to Great, as I referred to before, in the book Good to Great, they refer to Hewlett-Packard. And when Hewlett-Packard was founded, there was no printer, as you know today. The early manuscript of Hewlett-Packard was about the who, not the what. So let me tell you a little bit about Renan and then Benny. I met Renan when I was 8 years old at summer camp, 3 hours north of Toronto. And we got to know each other, we became best friends, we played tennis, we got up to trouble, had some adventure. And Renan and I had an incredible friendship. And then we go to university and we open up this business called Campus Faces, right? The Campus Faces, there's an article over there that you'll see here on it. Campus Faces was, we handed it out to university students during Frosh Week for free, and there was advertising around the edges. But what was important about Campus Faces, the most important part of Campus Faces was that Renan and I spent 2-3 months together every summer, and that's when we really got to know each other. That's when we found out we both had the hunger, the entrepreneur mindset, and same values. So Campus Faces, okay, was the moment where we really got to know each other. And at the end of Campus Faces, he turned to me and he said, because I did 4 years, he did 3. He says, I'm gonna go travel the Grateful Dead in a Westphalia. He said, I will wait for you for 10 months until you finish business school, okay, if you make a commitment to me now and don't take a corporate job, right? And I was interviewing at Nabisco, Leo Burnett, different places. And that's when Renan and I really got to know each other. And then Benny, I met Benny in business school. And listen, you couldn't miss Benny. I mean, Benny is so animated. He's so entertaining. And I befriended Benny because he had the best cheat notes. I wanted to get to his cheat notes, and he was so funny. And take a moment. I want all of you to look right for a moment. Look left. You could be sitting beside someone that becomes your partner, because that's what happened with Benny and I. You know, when we founded the company, we took the money we made from Campus Faces. We never founded the company with any Series A private equity. We didn't have any PowerPoint. When we started the company, we didn't even know what we were going to do. Okay, we were just so passionate to work together. And people refer to the three of us like a rock band. We're as opposite as you can imagine. So when you look for a partner, try to find someone as opposite to you as for your skill sets. The three of us have a different style, we have different competencies, different capabilities, different skill sets, but we sure do have the same values and our hunger and the entrepreneurial spirit. So that was the pivotal moment. Thank you. As I said, it was about the who, not the what. So now, let's move to the next pivotal moment in 97. In 97, we start manufacturing and marketing devil sticks. Here are some devil sticks right here. It's the 3-piece juggling set. So devil sticks starts to become trendy in Toronto. You know, we started to sell it to stores we had a relationship to with Earth Buddy, and it starts to take off. So we hear about this toy fair. The global toy fair is happening February in New York, okay, on 5th Avenue. We're like, okay, we got to take devil sticks and go global. So I said to the guys, let's go down to New York. Let's meet with reps and agents, distributors. Let's see what's happening and learn the industry. So we go down to New York, and we're meeting with people, and we get this offer from a $100 million toy company for them to be the distributor of air hogs, of devil sticks. So what do you think we did? Here we are, it's 97, we're like 23 years old, and we get an offer for someone to distribute devil sticks. Anyone want to take a guess? Well, is there any reason you think not to do the deal? Yeah, what do you think?
They're trying to stiff you. They're like giving you a really, really bad deal, and they know they're giving you a deal because you don't have any other choice.
Yeah, no, that wasn't the case. I mean, for us, he said they were trying to stiff us, but We turned down the offer, and the reason why we turned down the offer is because we knew we needed to go direct. Now let me take you into the pivotal moment. We're all sitting in New York, and we are at a restaurant for dinner, and it was in '97 that we have our first strategy conversation. Can you believe that? We've been in business for 3 years, and we didn't even talk about who we wanted to be, what was our vision, what was our strategy. We're sitting there out for dinner, and we look at each other, and we're like, okay, what should Spin Master be, in the long term? And Benny says innovation. Renan says innovation. I say innovation, 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 innovation for kids. That was the moment we set the first strategy of the company. We said we want to be Nike of kids, Apple of kids. And we knew. Do you think that Nike would give away the US market, the #1 market in the world, to ignite their innovation? Would they allow a middle person or a distributor to market their product, to sell their product? No way. We knew that the American market was so important to the long term of Spin Master. So we set up fully directed, and we walked away from the offer. We wanted to ideate. We wanted to develop and design category busters for kids. We wanted breakthrough innovation and to light it up, and we knew we needed to be direct in the US marketplace. Now let's move to the third pivotal moment for Spin Master, which links to our culture and our recipe. When we founded Spin Master, we didn't talk about the value, we just started to live our values. And the most important value we were living was something crucial and simple. Ideas come from anywhere and anybody. 24 years ago, Benny and I were driving to Rochester. Okay, we're going to see World of Science, which was our 4th largest retailer for the devil sticks. So we go down to Rochester and we meet with Fred Klauke. I remember him. He was an older man. They had 125 gift stores in the malls. We go to his store and we walk retail, and then we go out for lunch with Fred. I turn to Fred and say, Fred, what's your #1 selling item in units in your chain? He pauses and he chuckles. I'm like, oh, did I say something wrong? He's like, the $1 frog at the cash register, the one that grows, you put in water. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. The frog is your #1 item in unit sales in your gift store? And he said, yeah. So driving home from Rochester, Benny says to me, he says, why don't we take the frog, turn it into a dinosaur, and put like this egg around it, like so that when the dinosaur grows 10 times its size, it cracks open, there's an element of surprise, and Benny's like, let's create grow things. And I'm like, what else are you thinking? Benny's like, we could do grow things bugs, tarantulas, we could do grow things triceratops, all these different grow things. A few years later, we had done $40 million in grow things. Ideas truly come from anywhere. Over the last 3 decades, dozens and dozens of our hits have come, okay, from unexpected places. I get goosebumps with excitement thinking about how many, there's no formula to the magic when it comes to where did the toy come from. And it's because we welcome ideas from anyone. And on the topic of anyone, let me tell you, well, before I mention that to you, when I say ideas come from anywhere, they came from walking trade shows. Like moon sand was found in the back of Nuremberg on someone's little table. And then, ideas came from retailers, as you heard, from different departments, from employees. Ideas never, ever came from the boardroom. Ideas came from informal conversations in taxis, walking to the washroom. The more informal it is, the more the creativity flies up. Recently, think about this. recently at Spin Master, our senior marketing leader was on maternity leave. She comes back from maternity leave a year and a half ago, and she says, we need to track down Miss Rachel and make Miss Rachel toys. We're gonna do $100 million at wholesale in the next 12 months with Miss Rachel. And the idea came from a senior marketing leader internally. That is the recipe of Spin Master. And for us, we celebrated totally different types of people. I remember so many years ago when we were doing extreme sports finger bikes, this guy comes into Spin Master named Connor. He's got this baseball bat on, ripped jeans, and he's asking for a job. And we were doing the finger skateboards. And he said, I work at a bicycle store fixing bikes. We hired Connor for his ideas and his creativity. When we founded Spin Master, people that we hired would never have even gotten through the door at places like Mattel or Hasbro, because we celebrated the creativity and the ideas of people. Now let's shift to the fourth pivotal moment, which is a mindset. There's a key mindset at Spin Master that has really been, I mean, we would never be where we are today if it wasn't for how we experimented, we took risks, and how we captured the deep, deep learnings from the mistakes we made. I mean, listen, I'm a strange person for many reasons. My favorite topic is failure, and I love to learn from my mistakes. Let me take you back. When I was a 27-year-old in our headquarters, I can see it now. Above my office, there was this big shelf. See that shelf over there? And we used to have our failures. I wanted to be reminded of the mistakes that we made every day when I walked into the company. We had Don't Free Freddy, Zip Flyer, Chatterings, Live Dolls. We had all these items that failed. The Zip Flyer was this kite because it wouldn't fit on planograms. It was too large for the space for like a Walmart, okay, or a Target. Now, fast forward, when you guys get a tour afterwards, the place you're gonna enjoy the most is the 6th floor, outside my office. I've moved it from inside my office to the hallway. On the 6th floor, you're gonna see our wall of failures. You're gonna see the product in a case and then the learnings around it. And because learning from your mistakes, okay, is absolutely important. 2007, we acquired Tech Deck. We've done 30 acquisitions. Tech Deck's in our top 3. We buy Tech Deck. There's some fun stories, but I don't have time to tell you. And when we buy Tech Deck, we're doing $15 million in sales with it. Tech Decks are those miniature finger skateboards. 3 years later, we go from $15 million in sales to $70 million in sales. And the brand is thriving. We have the #1 brand in the world for extreme sports miniature stuff for kids. So we were like, why don't we take this brand and go where kids are going in the digital space? Let's make a video game. Create this video game for kids for their mobile devices. So we set up a studio in LA called Tech Deck Live. In around 2011, we set up Tech Deck Live. It was a total disaster. You guys can do a case study on us in your business classes about everything wrong. We hired the wrong people for Tech Deck Live that had no gaming experience. We had the wrong tech stack. The list goes on and on. We totally effed up. We lost over $10 million. I flew down there, I shut off the lights, I let go of everyone, and Tech Deck was a total disaster. But that didn't deter us. That didn't deter us from the importance strategically of being in the digital space. Because 5, 6 years later, from when we turned off the lights for Tech Deck Live, we get this opportunity to look at acquiring Toca Boca. So we fly to Stockholm, and we have all the learnings from Tech Deck Live. we get to Stockholm, we see this incredible team with so much experience, domain expertise, best in class. The team in Stockholm, they had the #1 brand for Toca Boca for kids. And we took the learnings from Tech Deck Live and we acquired Toca Boca, which is thriving. Has over 50 million monthly active users today. It's got incredible gameplay, great brand. So think about this, all of you. Let's think about this. We lost $10 million from Tech Deck Live, and we created hundreds of millions of value creation from Toca Boca. So the failure from Tech Deck Live didn't deter us from, buying Toca Boca, which has been instrumental in the company's value creation and in our journey. So for all of you, you need to learn how to fail fast, capture your learnings from your failure. There is a gift in every moment. I can tell you that. Every part of my life, personal and business, no matter how bad it was, I found a gift. Now let's move to the next pivotal moment, which is our approach to partnerships. Wow, partnerships have just been, when you think of Spin Master, the first thing you think of, the first thing you think of when you say Spin Master is innovation, the second is partnerships. It is legendary and transformational what happened with Bakugan and Paw Patrol. And there's a lot of there's dozens and dozens of other partnerships. I could spend a whole hour telling you about how we architected partnerships, how we developed partnerships, how we nurtured partnerships. There's so much to share, but we don't have the time. But let me just take 2 minutes to take you through Bakugan. Bakugan came to us from an inventor in the US. He brings us this little ball. It's like, it was made of like iron. He says, why don't you take the ball, you can throw the ball, and when it hits this trading card, it pops open, this collectible. And the thought was, well, if we took this innovation and we added entertainment, it would really bring it alive. So we fly down to, Renan flies to Japan to see who is the best in the world in Japanese anime. Bakugan was formed. Spin Master created Bakugan from scratch. We own the underlying IP. But we went to 3 other companies. There's 4 of us that we each have about a quarter of it, right? So what happens with Bakugan is every toy or every merchandise sold, a certain percentage goes to Chorus. Chorus did the broadcasting worldwide, and they guaranteed us to go on air in Canada on the #1 kid show in Canada. I think it was, I can't remember what it was called at that time, Teletoon or whatever. And then, so we had Chorus. We had TMS in Japan. They said, we will produce it. We will produce Japanese anime for it. And then we had Sega that said, we will distribute it in Asia, and we'll help you with the mechanisms. We'll help you with the engineering. And then we had Spin Master. We all 4 came together, and everyone shared parts of the royalty that came from the toys that went into a pool. I will never forget the moment. I can tell you where I was standing, where I got a phone call from Richard Berry, the Chief Merchandise Officer from Toys R Us. He says, Anton, this is 2009. He says, Anton, you're outselling Star Wars and Transformers with Bakugan. Talk about a pinch me moment. Bakugan did billions of sales in merchandise over a 4 or 5 year period because of the partnership. Our partnerships has just been unbelievable. And let's take a moment to share 3 things about partnerships. And before I share it, in 2009, Bakugan won Toy of the Year. We won 4 of the Toadies, which is like the Grammy Awards in the toy industry. Okay, so 3 things for you to think about with partnerships. One is, as I said to you with Bakugan, when we think about partnerships up front, we're like, who in the world has this capability or this domain expertise that we don't have in-house? That's why we went to TMS, because we couldn't produce Japanese anime. So that's the first thing you think about with partnerships. When you're starting your business, Go to those best in the world who have a capability that you don't have. The second thing is invest a lot of time up front. Partnerships don't just happen. It's the soft stuff. You need to really get to know people and invest time doing multiple trips. You could fly to Japan 6 times before you form a partnership. That's what it takes. And the other thing is to structure a win-win. If you want a long-term partnership, you need to structure where everyone does well financially. And we've paid so much money to inventors, and we're happy to. That's been one of the company's formula. So when you look at these partnerships, it's just unbelievable. I mean, Paw Patrol has really changed the company, So let's segue to the next pivotal moment, the third one, which is resetting strategy. As you heard before, the marketplace changes so fast. The consumer changes. You guys are consuming media differently on your devices. Roblox is here. That's a community. Around 15 years ago, Renan walks into Benny and I's office, and he says, we need to open up an entertainment division. And he's like, here's the rationale. Here's the logic. Content is king. We should own our own content. So 15 years ago, we reset the strategy of Spin Master, and we opened up our entertainment division. The rest is history. Paw Patrol is the #1 preschool show ever made in the history of the world. And that came from us resetting our strategy. Paw Patrol, I call it the Novak Djokovic of preschool. It's the GOAT, the greatest of all time. As you know, I'm a tennis person. And I remember when I had the fortune of meeting Jeff Immelt from GE, the chairman of GE. He said to me, Anton, strategy needs to be reset. Strategy can be fluid. Values don't get reset, but strategy can be reset. So that was a key pivotal moment. So let's transition. We're done the pivotal moments, and let's talk about all of you here today. As I said, I get so much energy from being with young people. What I want to do is take you through 5 things that I wish I knew when I was your age. Things like unique ability, mindset, feedback, the importance of mentoring, and the most complicated topic, fear. And if you guys want, I have a bonus. So you can either ask, here's my bonus tip for you. But either you can ask it in a question or we'll somehow get to it. So let's start with unique ability. In my late 20s, I was part of an organization called YEO, where I got to learn from other business people. And I go for this weekend retreat. And I meet this guy, Dan Sullivan, from the Strategic Coach. Dan Sullivan spends the whole weekend talking about unique ability. You got to look Dan Sullivan up on the internet so you can do the exercises and the worksheet. So unique ability is each person's natural talent. It is the person's most powerful and most profound skill. It is driven by passion. It is what a person does best and can do better than almost anyone. It's what makes you different, your unique ability. All of you need to spend time figuring out your unique ability. There's so many tools to figure out your unique ability. You can do psych assessments online. You could speak to people who know you well and ask them, what's the one thing that you do better than others? You can ask your mom, your dad, other people you work for, and really get to the root of it, right? Find out what your unique ability is and get crisp with it. My unique ability is all around people. So if I walk around Spin Master and someone asks me a technology question and I answer that, I'm accepting mediocrity for the company. The sooner you figure out your unique ability, the less tension and friction you'll have with yourself. Because what you'll do is you're going to surround yourself with people that are opposite to you. You're going to hire people who report to you or have peers or partners that have an opposite unique ability. That's how it works. Do you want to spend your career working on your weaknesses and die with strong weaknesses? Who wants to do that? Just spend 10,000 hours in your unique ability and become a genius, a master at what gift God gave you. Harness your unique ability, and when you think about your career 10 years from now, as I said, surround yourself with others with different skill sets. Self-awareness is a journey, trust me. And I can tell you, you guys, it's very common. You think you're self-aware. If I asked you how self-aware you were, you'd probably say 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. That's not true. You're not as self-aware as you think you are. It's truly a journey. I'm still doing it in my 50s, self-awareness. The next thing to talk about is mindset. Over the last 5 years, I have developed a deep curiosity and a great interest in psychology. And I have had the great fortune of working with some great doctors and experts on the mind, on the brain, which is so complicated, on neuroscience. So what I want to do today is just spark your curiosity on the mind, because it's so powerful. And I want to share with you 3 concepts, some principles, which I wish I knew when I was your age. The first thing is, and you're probably thinking, what I'm about to say, you're probably going to think I'm a little woo-woo. Because firstly, your thoughts are not you. If you study Buddhism, your thoughts are not you. It's so weird to think that. That's the first concept. The second one is that over 85% of the thoughts in your mind, your inner voice is just this puppy dog going off in your mind, and it's wasting so much energy. Most of the thoughts in your mind, they're a waste of time. They're not that relevant. And what you need to do is figure out how to release these thoughts with kindness, compassion, and in a quick amount of time so they don't consume your energy. The third thing about the mind, which you hear all the cliches, and it sounds a little corny, but positive thoughts, okay, is going to make probably one of the biggest difference in your life. Every day there are moments where I'm pumping positive thoughts in my brain, okay? If I'm in a tennis tournament match, do I think, when I'm on my second serve, do I think, I say certain things to myself? I know how to keep my head up. I'm not going to collapse. I talk positive to myself all the time when some of those negative thoughts are coming into the mind. You need to learn about your mind. It's complicated, but it's going to be critical for your success. I strongly recommend you start looking at podcasts and books. You need to get curious about meditation. You need to get curious about mantras and how to use mantras. You need to get curious about how to reframe your mind and reframing exercise. You need to get curious about transition rituals. Why is it, if you want to be the best version of yourself, if you want to be the best in the world at what you do, why should you be any different to a world athlete? You see when Serena Williams walks out on the court, she's doing transition rituals with her headphones, or Michael Phelps. These top athletes in the world, before they perform, they do transition rituals. If you want to be top in business and you have to fire someone 1 minute and then do a staff meeting, you need to reset yourself. There are small tools of the mind that can go a long way. Let's shift now to feedback. There is nothing more important to you when you start out than feedback. I was with this entrepreneur. 2 weeks ago, I'm with this entrepreneur, and he got the fortune of receiving this grant and got this coach. He's 23 years old. And I said, what's the number one thing you've learned from your coach? He says, feedback. He said, I didn't realize how to give feedback. I am a feedback animal, and it is absolutely critical that all of you understand feedback is not a simple thing. How to give feedback to people or how to receive feedback, it's a lot more complicated. I can tell you, I lost a lot of credibility in my 20s as a leader. I lost a ton of credibility because I didn't know how to give feedback to others. In fact, I would give feedback to people, they'd look at me and they said, "So did Chris just tell you that yesterday?" There are so many layers to knowing how to give feedback to others in a constructive way. And it's really important that you learn. I bet you don't learn in business school how to give feedback to people, which is absolutely critical, and how to receive feedback. It's your responsibility to initiate getting feedback from others. Next, let's talk about mentors. I can tell you unequivocally, unquestionably, I would not be standing here today if it wasn't for all the mentors I had. If you have the fortune, don't just have one mentor, have multiple mentors. And have mentors on different topics. I have certain mentors on people topics. I have certain mentors on strategy topics. Mentors will help shift your perspective. Mentors, we're all human. We all need a place to vent. Mentors are critical for all of you in your 20s. And try to get as many mentors as possible. And over the decades, your mentors might change. That's natural and that's good. The benefits from having the right type of mentors are endless. So now let's shift. I wanted to ask a question, but I see the answer is up there. But the thing I want you to think about is this. I have friends who are life coaches, and I have friends who are business coaches. And I say to all of them, I say, when you're coaching someone and you really go down the levels, what's the number one thing that gets in people's way from being a better version of themselves and succeeding? And everyone says the same thing to me. They say it's fear. Fear is normal. Remember as humans, our fight and flight. Remember our ancient cellular bacteria. When you study human beings, you know that in the brain, we have this fear that's from thousands of years ago. So it's normal to have fear. But fear gets in people's way because it becomes ego, insecurity, and it gets in ways of collaboration, teamwork. It gets in so many different ways. So when you think of fear, firstly, a little bit of fear is good. Don't get upset with yourself when you have some fear. It means you're about to take action. The second thing about fear is confront your fear head on. Get present with your fear. Face the cannon, stare at your fear, because you'll be able to figure out, is that fear just that voice in your mind that you need to just let it go quickly, or is the fear telling you something important? Like everything in life, there is nothing that I have gotten better at. There is absolutely nothing I have gotten better at, whether it's my forehand, my serve, my listening skills, unless I turned it into a practice. You need to be deliberate, you need to be intentional, and you need to turn anything that you want to be a better version at into a practice. And that's what you need to do with fear. You need to create micro moments where you're uncomfortable. You need to create little micro moments where you're talking in front of everyone. Like Charlotte, you did a great job today getting in front of everyone, and I'm sure you had a little bit of stuff in your tummy. That's normal, Charlotte. But you got up here and you did it, and you're practicing that, and that's what all of you need to do. So those are the 5 things that I wish I knew more about when I was your age. Now, I've decided to share with you guys a secret because you've given me so much energy. I'm writing a book. I never thought I'd write a book, and the world does not need another book. Like, the last thing the world needs is a book. But I'm loving the process. And to me, I don't care how many I sell. It's all about the process for me. My book is about your difference is your biggest advantage. My book is to send a message to all of you to double down on your difference. I don't want any of you to look at me and say, how do I become Anton? You don't need to try fit the mold. You don't need to copy anyone. You don't need to try to say, I want to be a business suit like a Jack Welch, and I need to follow this thing. Your difference is your advantage. Celebrate your difference. Double down on your difference. Your success is going to be from your difference, not by imitating. So what I wanted to do is share with you a couple of recommended readings of some books that, have, books when I was your age that would I love to read. I haven't read all, I've read most of them. There's a lot of jokes about me in books. But before we close today, I just wanted to tell you how excited I am to be with all of you. And I hope that I've sparked your curiosity on a lot of topics.